everybody, it's time for the #1 game show around. It's time for Ghost of Tsushima, the game show. And here's your host, Bob McDugan.
Welcome to Ghost of Tsushima. I'm your host, Buff McDugan. Now, Nancy, bring out our next, contestant.
Yeah, all right, yeah!
You again?
Oh, you again?
How are you alive?
How are you alive?
Last I heard, my cousin killed you.
Well, either way, I didn't sign no contract, but this is a game show, right? So I can win some prizes?
Yes, you can win a glorious prize.
Oh, cool,
All you
cool.
have to do is answer a question, jackass.
Okay, what's the question? What's the question?
Which of these monuments can be found only in India?
Huh. Well, honestly, which one of these monuments would you only find in India? Well, first of all, I'm not going to go with number D, okay? I've actually rode the Pyramid of Giza roller coaster. Terrible, terrible ride. B, Eiffel Tower? No, I've been to New York. That's where all they go, F you! So it's not that. It's not that. Let's see. The Great Wall of China. That's actually located in Indiana. I've been there. They glued a bunch of plates to a wall. Seriously, it's not that. I'm actually going to go for, I'm going to pick A, Taj Mahal. Sounds like a guy who would be in India. Taj Mahal, final answer.
Well, congratulations.
Yes, I won. I got it.
Yes, you did, jackass.
What did I win?
Considering those questions was literally an idiot's choice. Now I must ask you a question.
What's that? Where's
You're
my
ready
prize?
for a bonus round.
No! Ah!
We've got another one. Finally, get this piece of crap out of my sight. Thanks for watching Ghost of Tsushima. Buff McDugan out, jackasses.
This concludes this wonderful episode of Ghost of Tsushima, the game show. We now return you to your previous program, currently in progress. Yeah.
Hello everybody, it's me, Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I'm back with another game review. This time I'm reviewing Ghost of Tsushima. It was developed by Sucker Punch and published by Sony and just released on July 17th of 2020 for the PlayStation 4. It is an action-adventure stealth title played in third person where you play as Jin, a samurai warrior in the late 13th century of Tsushima Island as the Mongol Empire conquers the land. And as one of the few remaining surviving members of your clan, you realize that in order to be able to defeat these enemies that are taking over the land and destroying everything, you may have to go to unconventional tactics to be able to win. So, along with your katana, you'll also get to use all kinds of different weapons throughout your adventure, including a grappling hook, a bow, smoke bombs, and more throughout your roughly 40-hour-long adventure. Now, the main thing about this game, hands down, that is very interesting is the fighting mechanics is so unique. Now, first of all, I will say, no, this is not going to be like no Dark Souls, Demon Souls, but at the same time, it's definitely not a button masher. This actually seems to play out a lot better than what an Assassin's Creed game does, in the fact that your character, as you go through and progress and keep evolving him, you'll unlock 4 different main stances which allow for different moves, and each of these stances are used in order for you to fight and defeat different enemy classes. And throughout your adventure, you can switch on the fly while you're fighting these enemies And like I said, it can be rather intense and may seem overwhelming at first until you really get the hang of it, of realizing, okay, this guy here has got this certain amount of stats and ability. So you'll have to just think really, really smart when you're actually fighting these different enemies. Like I said, it's very strategic fighting in this game. It's not like level gated or anything. You can go against just about any guy, and as long as you're intelligent enough to be able to read their moves and their animations and be able to know when to parry and block and move out of the way and counteract and counterattack them, you'll be able to beat them. But like I said, it's very strategic, and it can be rather hectic when you have a large group of enemies attacking you all at once. You'll be dealing with one guy here having to switch to a different stance to be able to counteract and stab this other guy here. Meanwhile, you got to deal with an archer shooting an arrow at your head that you have to knock away with your katana. It's very in-depth and intense, and at first, like I said, it did kind of overwhelm me until I really took my time to really learn the structure of how the fighting mechanics are built in this game. Like I said, this is not a button masher. If you're going into this thinking that you can just, counterattack, you're not going to get far. You have to use your head when actually playing this game, and it really comes into play when you get into your I'm going to call it quick draw mode, where you go up against a fight one-on-one with someone, or even some of the epic boss battles that draw it out a lot longer, to where you have to be extra diligent in noticing what sort of moves they're using, knowing how to counter them for them to leave themselves open so you can get those shots in. And most of the enemies, other than the bosses, if you do it correctly, you can kill them with a single hit. Some of them take a little more, but for the most part, you can kill them with a single hit, and I'll explain that here in a couple minutes. But some of the other bosses, when it's like the epic one-on-one battles, it'll kind of zoom in a bit, and it's a lot more cinematic as you fight these bosses. And like I said, it's very well done. It's very well done. Now, as for the stealth aspect, the meaning of the ghost aspect of Ghost of Tsushima, well, as you progress through this game and you realize you can't just remain true to your samurai tactics to be able to win, so you have to learn these other moves of being the ghost. And by doing that, that's where it opens up all your abilities as the stealth warrior, as I'm going to call them. This is everything from doing things to scare people, to one-shot kill them by sneak attacks, assassinations, and stuff like that, like jumping off a building to stab a guy, or getting in the grass and sneaking up and killing them. All kinds of stuff, including hitting them with like sticky bombs or smoke bombs to stun them so you can go in and give a kill. While it's not the most honorable way, when you're going up against so many of these Mongols, it makes sense with the character as it's developed. And that's the thing, hands down, about this game that I definitely have to say that it is really knocking it out in the park, and that's the terms of the writing and the character development. This has proper and emotional story behind it. It has great investing in these characters. They have great development throughout it, to where the main character Jin is actually at odds with himself over the fact that he knows he may be going down the path of being dishonorable in terms of doing what he has to do to survive and to stop this Mongol invasion. And throughout this adventure, it really does, do a great job with these well-designed personalities. It is a ultimate samurai adventure. It really is. Hands down, this is the one thing that I say about a video game. You can have a fantastic game and great gameplay, but if you don't have likable characters and great writing and good character development, that's when your game just ends up falling flat. This game actually nails it, hits it out of the park on that aspect. Now, as for the game world as you play through it, it's a giant island that is set up in 3 giant districts, and at the beginning, 2 of them are locked out. Basically, as you progress into the main story, it will unlock those districts, and once you have them open, you're free to go pretty much anywhere and do anything you want. I mean, this game does feature constant progression with your character. It has some great over-the-top epic set-piece events throughout, and the thing I also really like about this is when you're doing the missions, it'll let you know very clearly and precisely what you will get as a reward for doing a certain mission. So if you want to do a side mission mission and you say, hey, okay, I want to change my character's gear to a different color, or I want to upgrade it to a certain way, you can clearly see what you will get as a reward for doing certain missions. So that makes it to where you may not want to do a certain mission and might do something else instead, and that's really well done. The other aspect I noticed with this game is there seems to be 4 main quest varieties. They consist of basically your main story as you progress with the characters, and that opens up more sections in the game and evolves you as a character. Then you have your character side stories that involve these side characters that you'll do missions for and stuff that, it evolves the side characters and their personality. Very, very well done. Then you have your basic side missions. These seem to be the worst of the bunch. They're still fun and everything, but they consist of helping others and doing typical fetch quests. And you'll get some nice items for doing it. So, honestly, if you want to level your character up and get some cool stuff, you'll want to do the side missions too. But they are the most generic of the bunch with quite repeated fetch quests. And the last one is these weird things that are called mythical or mythic, that dives deep into the mythology of samurais and what's everything's going on. And this is a great way to unlock some of the more powerful and rare fighting techniques for your main character, Jin. So if you really want to level your character up with some of the best moves in a game, basically you're going to be wanting to do the mythic quests. Honestly, all the quest lines are very well done, except for the side quest missions. Those seemed a little bit of the more mundane, run-of-the-mill total fetch quests. But other than that, they were still quite playable, and I didn't have any problem in going through them. Naturally, in this game, in this giant open world, you use your horse as your main form of travel. You can also run on foot, but the horse is so much faster. And the other thing, I'm sure you've noticed this, it's really cool, you have little animal buddies that'll pop up from time to time that'll help you out, like everything from foxes to birds. And if you pay attention to these creatures, they'll let you know, hey, follow me, and they take you to a hidden location that allows you to get neat stuff. It really is like find hidden temples and shrines and be able to level your character up. It's very well done. And the other thing is the navigation that they use for this game is brilliant. I love it when they have a minimalistic HUD for a game, and this actually is the best way to do it. Whenever you click on and set something as your active mission, whenever you need guidance to figure out where to go, by swiping up on the touchpad, it'll make a gust of wind will appear with like leaves in it, and you can see the wind, and it will go in the location of where you need to go. That's also combined with other visual aspects, like seeing smoke in the distance, or hearing screams, or seeing fire. It'll let you know, hey, okay, that's a location I need to go to. And it's a brilliant way of leading you without literally grabbing your hand and pulling you in that direction. The other thing is this has the best fast travel I've played in a game. What's the number one meaning of the word fast travel? You get to travel fast. Well, once you go to a location, you'll be able to fast travel there at any time, going to your map, clicking on it, and fast traveling. And it actually works fairly good. I mean, it's a quick fast travel. While other games with an open world may take a long time to load, this one seems fairly quick about getting you where you need to go. Now, some of the other things I got to say about this, you have all your main missions and some of the side missions. While you explore this epic, beautiful world, you find shrines that you can use to get charms, hot springs that you find for like your health. You can upgrade and unlock multiple different skill trees, everything from your weapons, your gear, different materials used that will actually lead to your equipment working better. It really is fantastic. And while this doesn't have thousands of different items in the game that you can get, it gives you items that literally you can stick with throughout the whole game if you like something. It's not like if you just wait a couple minutes and you find another item that's got a better stat to it and you're like, oh, well, bye-bye with this item. You can actually stick with your items that you truthfully like that will give you certain stat boosts and perks, and you can actually dye them, you can customize them with different materials you find from plant dyes and materials, and it's very, very well done. That way you can actually have a pretty decent amount of customization for the character that you have in this game. Now, I cannot do one of these reviews without actually doing some pros and cons, even though I'm staying right down the middle best as I can for a non-biased review on this title. I am going to give it some pros and some cons. First up, let's get the cons right out of the way, okay? This is not a perfect game. It does have some repetition in the combat that I've noticed. The battles and bosses and quests get quite repetitious. You'll notice after a while that the animations and the program of the AI of the enemies is very well done, but after a while you'll notice, okay, this guy keeps doing the same moves. And you'll be like, okay, well, now that helps you to where you know when he's going to leave his guard down so you can beat him. But I just noticed I wish there was a little bit more variety in the combat. But that, like I said, is just a minor nitpick. The other thing is there doesn't appear to be any sort of lock-on, which that hands down is a really big problem. There is no lock-on in this game, which it's not anything that destroys the game at all. It really does not destroy it in any way. But it is something that is quite noticeable, especially since I played a lot of games, open world games, where you fight enemies. And it just seems odd there isn't one. But I think it leads it more to a cinematic, experience. Now, the other thing I've noticed is while you're in battle and you need to switch between your stances on the fly, sometimes it seems when you hit the button it's finicky and it doesn't want to switch just right. And you'll know what I mean when you actually play this game. It's nothing bad, but it's something I noticed, and it did get me killed a couple times until I got used to it, to where I'm like, oh, okay, it's a little tricky. But other than that, not that big of a deal, and it does have some minor glitching. I'm sure they'll have some updated patches coming out soon that will actually alleviate a lot of these issues. There's not that many, but I've had some with Jin floating in midair. I've had some animation glitches where I'm like killing people and they're they're not even in the animation. Just minor stuff. But no real game crashes or no game breaking bugs, just some that were kind of comical and annoying. Now, as for the pros, and this one does have a lot of pros to it. The ever-expanding movesets for both different movesets of your samurai and your ghost abilities is phenomenal. I love the amount of detail that it goes in as you go through, and it just keeps expanding. And the way the game progresses, the progression is done so well to where it's not dumping hundreds of things on you at once. It's trickling them in, but it does it in a very good pace to where you're constantly evolving your character, which I think is fantastic. The other thing is the gorgeous game world. My God, this is visually a stunner up there. Honestly, the only other game I've seen and played here lately, believe it or not, is The Last of Us 2 when it comes to this visual fidelity. Sucker Punch is working wonders with this game engine, and they have knocked it out of the park in terms of the game world, the design, just everything, the way the mountains looks, the field, the rolling grass, the trees, the winds blowing, all the leaves. It is a beautiful game, and it is topped off by some of the best music I have heard in a game. It is so fitting and beautiful and goes perfect in this game world. And honestly, the other personal favorite of mine are the epic one-on-one standoffs. They are so epic and intense. They are nerve-wracking to where I had sweat rolling down my brow as I'm fighting some of these guys. And I can only think that maybe, just maybe, that feeling I got from fighting these one-on-one battles with these epic warriors, it's just so good. Honestly, this game, hands down, is a swan song for Sucker Punch. This is a wonderful game to end the PS4 era on. This is fantastic. This honestly is going to go down as one of my personal favorite games of this year in terms of the overall package. The graphics, the gameplay, the control, the character development, the sound, everything about this is top notch. And keep in mind, I think this actually has a very good contender for Game of the Year. Really, I do. But the only thing I can say is this is strictly just my opinion, and yours may vary, but I can highly recommend that you pick up and try Ghost of Tsushima once it launches if you're able to go and get this game. Honestly, this is a fantastic game, and I love what Sucker Punch did with just about every aspect of this title. I'm having a blast through this. In fact, I'm going to go through and I'm going to play it again. Hands down, this is one of my personal favorites of 2020, and it's great to actually play a game that's got everything decent with it. Voice acting fantastic, character designs fantastic, world design epic and beautiful, music fantastic, game character development and plot. I mean, like I said, there are some minor nitpicks. Like it has got the standard repetition when it comes to an open game world. Go to a location, scout, kill bad guys, clear it out, rinse and repeat. But it's done in a way that is so epic, I can definitely recommend Ghost of Tsushima to you guys today. This was Nate, aka Devil Dog. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this review. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Ghost of Tsushima. Was it worth the wait? Do you think Sucker Punch has another IP hit on their hands? And remember, I always end my videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember, people, the devil is in the details. Peace out until next time.